to Bookwrights House, where stories come to life and authors feel right at home. Today, we are thrilled to have the opportunity to engage in a captivating conversation with Dr. Sheila Holder, the brilliant author of Samantha's Secret Hiding Place. Good afternoon, Dr. Holder. I'm Elijah Barcelona. And before we dive into our conversation, I'd like to extend a warm thank you on behalf of Bookwrights House for taking the time to be with us today. It's an honor to discuss your work and the heart of your storytelling, and we're excited to learn more about the inspiration behind Samantha's Secret Hiding Place and what led you to write this wonderful story. So let's get started.
Thank you
Yes.
so much for having me. I think this is an honor, and I hope to captivate you and the audience that may hear this interview.
Okay.
Yes, my name is Sheila Holder. I am a lifelong learner and educator. I began my education in elementary school, and then I moved to being a guidance counselor. After that, I became a principal and finally a superintendent. So I've been through the whole gamut of education. Samantha's Secret Hiding Place, truthfully, did not start out as a book. I was taking a class, advanced reading class with some other educators, and one of our assignments was to write a children's story. Not for publication, just write a children's story. And that seemed a bit challenging to me, because I had never done that before. But after thinking about it and reflecting, I came up with the idea of Samantha's Secret Hiding Place. So that's how the story actually got started. And we had to read the story to the rest of the class. And when I did, I saw the interest of the listeners and also of the instructor. And she actually asked me if she could have my story. And at that moment, I said, wow, she wants my story. It must be a really good story. And I did not give it to her. I just said, no, I'll keep it, and then I just put it aside for about 5 years. So that's how it actually began.
Okay. So now that you talked about the inspiration of the book, of why you write the book, let's talk about Samantha herself. So she is such a compelling character. Could you tell us more about Samantha as a person? What are some of her defining traits and how does she evolve throughout the story?
Well, Samantha is actually a composite of a few of my cousins and myself. We were very close and we grew up, our houses were very next to each other. And so when I began to think about this Samantha person, because she didn't have a name at the time, I just thought about some of the things that we like to do. We like to play hide and go seek. We like to go to each other's houses. We like to go to the beach. And so all of those things began to evolve within the story. And that's how Samantha actually came to life, just by some of the activities my cousins and I did when we were kids.
Okay.
Was there another part of the question?
What are some of her defining traits and how does she evolve throughout the story?
Okay, so as you can tell, she's very mischievous. She liked to play with her family. She liked to be the one to suggest things that they could do. She was creative. She was mischievous even, because you can tell some of the things she did in the book. She was very mischievous, but she was fun-loving. She was a fun-loving girl, and at the end of the book, you can see as soon as they never found her hiding place, and then she wanted to play again the next day. So that's the kind of person that she was, and she just evolved as I was writing the story, because all of it was not, it's a fiction story, but some of it came true to life from characters that we had, and then as I was writing, I began to add other things into the story.
Okay. So I will interrupt our interview for a bit. Can you tilt down your camera a bit so that we can see your face more?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll get back to the interview now. Okay, next question. So the theme of mystery plays such an important role in Samantha's secret hiding place. So how did you go about weaving mystery into Samantha's journey and keeping readers on the edge of their seats?
Well, as I said, I taught children, and children love mysteries.
Mhm.
When I used to read to them every day, and if I chose a mystery to read, then their eyes would sparkle. They would get ready to listen to the story. And so I would make it a little more. I would say, okay, you can sit on the floor, you can bring a pillow, and we will read the story together. And that's so, having that in my mind, I began to think, now, how can I make this into a mystery? So that children would want to read it. And I thought about, well, if she's hiding those seats, that's a mystery in itself. People don't know where she is. And I tried to think of things that would make her more mysterious, where she was hiding, all of the things she had to do to go to her hiding place, and what she was thinking about. Oh, where can I hide? And that was a mystery in itself. Keeping people on the edge of their seat, that wasn't my original intent, because like I said, it was for children. And but then one day I actually went back to the school where I taught and read the book to the children. And from there I could see that, oh, they were really excited about this mystery. And they asked me at the end of the reading, well, where was she hiding? Where was she? So you can always captivate children with questions. You can captivate them by just giving them not the whole story, but something, and this here will invite their curiosity.
So the setting of the story is crucial to its atmosphere. So how did you go about creating the world in which Samantha's adventures unfold, and what role does this setting play in shaping the narrative?
Well, like I said, part of it was true. So I actually did live on a hill, and when I looked out of the window, I could see the two beaches. And so the setting was, once I decided what the story was going to be about, that setting was already there. I didn't have to create that setting. I just remember what it looked like when I looked out of the window. And there was also a hill there. And we would run down that hill as kids, just run from the house to the beach, and we'd be jumping over rocks and all of those things. So the setting, like I said, was already there. And I just weaved Samantha into the setting that was already there.
Reminiscing the moments of your childhood.
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice. Okay, so writing a book is never without its challenges. So, as a writer, what were some of the difficulties you faced while writing Samantha's Secret Hiding Place, and how did you overcome them?
Some of the challenges. Well, I think I had to remember that this was for children and use words that they could understand, because not only did I want the parents to read to them, I wanted the kids to be able to read the book also. And so I had to do a balancing act between making it not too difficult for kids to read, but interesting enough so that the parents would want to read it also. And overcoming that, as I was writing the story for the assignment, I read bits and pieces to some of my fellow classmates to see, well, what do you think of this word? Do you think this is appropriate for kids between ages 4 and 8? So that's part of what I use to get the right setting, the right words for the kids to use. Yeah.
Okay. So next we'll talk about the special moments in the book that make you proud. So are there any specific scenes or moments in Samantha's Secret Hiding Place that you're particularly proud of?
Uh, Not as I was writing it, I don't think it was, I was thinking of it in that light. But after reading it, I said, I remembered that there really was a little cave at the end, one of the beaches. They had a little cave there. And I thought that was special because the waves would rush up just to the mouth of the cave. And we would, as kids, run all the way inside, so that we wouldn't get wet. So I tried to not use that entire scene, but the scene of her hiding someplace. But she wasn't in too far because if you remember, when it began to rain, the rain came on her feet and on her hands. And so she wasn't way inside of the book. But that was a special to me because I said not as I wrote it, but after I wrote the book, I went back to that actual place. And I can also say here that uh, what actually happened, I had a party. I had a party for Samantha. So I invited some kids from that neighborhood and their parents were my friends from childhood. I told them to bring their kids, and we had cookies and things to drink, and we had a party for Samantha, and that was very special to me. So it became special after I wrote the story because I was at the actual setting where the book setting of for Samantha.
Now, storytelling, especially in children's literature, can have such a lasting impact. What role do you think storytelling plays in helping young readers navigate their own challenges and experiences?
Storytelling. As an educator, I know the importance of children forming pictures in their mind. We read the words, but they form the images in their mind. Storytelling does that for you. As a kid myself, I love to read. I actually used to hide when my mom was calling me to come and do some chore. I would hide. I'd have a book, and I would hide somewhere so that I could read this book because I could go to faraway places. And when you're having a story either read to you or you're reading it yourself, your mind takes you any place you want to go, wherever that story setting is. So I think that's very important for creativity, for vocabulary, and it's different from iPad or listening to a story on the television. Because when you actually touch the pages and look at the images, something happens in your mind to help you remember. And so that's what I think storytelling. And if you ever have an opportunity as a parent, that you should take that time and read to your kids or have the older ones read to the younger ones. And it really emphasizes the importance of words, of images, and kids just love it. They will ask for more and more and more stories. And I think one thing parents can do too is create a setting. Like they can say, okay, let's play hide and go seek. After they've read the book. So, and they got that maybe from that story, but other stories that authors write, have settings, and parents can recreate that setting and help their kids love reading.
You recreate the scenes from the book to help with the imagination of children.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm. Okay. So, looking ahead, are there any upcoming projects or books you're working on that fans of Samantha's Secret Hiding Place can look forward to?
That's funny. My grandson, after I finished writing the book, and he was so proud of it, so he was saying, Gran, when are you going to write the next book? And is it going to be about Samantha's friends? He actually, one day he said, okay, I'm going to start it for you. And so he looked at the book and he was saying, oh, yeah, she had a lot of friends. So I'll start it and you can finish it. Yeah, so, and then also the kids at the school where I read the book, they would ask me, oh, when's the next one coming? When are you going to write? When are you going to write another story about Samantha? So I've had the motivation. I just haven't acted on, haven't really acted on the motivation to write the next book. But it is something that's in my mind that I should do.
Yes, you already have the idea on what to write. You already have the inspiration. So, okay, we'll be waiting for the next book.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, before we wrap up, what message or takeaway do you hope readers will gain from reading Samantha's Secret Hiding Place?
I think that they can take away special times with family, whether you're an adult or a child. You can have special time that you want to spend with the parent or parent with the child, thinking that okay, this is a book, but it's so to me, it's so real. It's down to earth. It's not like a fairy tale. It's just regular everyday activities that can happen in a family. So that's one thing, one takeaway. I think another takeaway is you never know what you can do. If you have a dream, you should follow that dream. And because I didn't know I was going to write a book, but I did in the back of my mind think, oh, it might be nice to write a children's story. I would read books. Oh, that's interesting. I think I could probably do that. But I would not have done it, I don't think, if I didn't have that assignment to write a children's story. And so I think that's something that a takeaway for parents, they can encourage their children to write. They can say, okay, let's write a story together. Do you like this one? Or they can change the ending. Did you like the way that story ended? Because one thing kids have said from my book is, I'm going to write a different ending. I want to know where she was really hiding. So all of those things can happen if you time, allow time for children, and if you allow space, and if you allow just the fun of it, not thinking of it as work, just thinking of it as fun. I think that can happen. So I think those are good takeaways that uh, parents and kids can take away from Samantha's Secret Hiding Place.
And do you have a physical copy of your book that you can show us today?
I actually do. If you look behind me, you can see that picture of Samantha. The art teacher
Oh,
at the school. I had one of my cousins, one of my younger cousins, come. I said, would you be Samantha for this book?" Oh, she was so excited. She was so excited, and that's one of the beaches, that was in the book, and she developed her own signature before I had. By the time we had the party, and I was introducing her as Samantha, she had her own signature. So so right. So yeah, I actually do have a copy here.
oh, wow, that's so that's so nice.
Yeah, I have Samantha right there, and
Oh,
we have some when she was wet, coming in from the rain. She was so wet, and then she would dash in and change her clothes. You could tell she was mischievous because then she ran back to the chair where like a family room, and curled up in the chair, acting like she'd been there all the while when she really hadn't. Yeah.
so can you say a few words to our viewers to read your book, or where can they purchase Samantha's Secret Hiding Place?
Well, there are a few places you can purchase it. You can purchase it on Amazon. You can purchase it also on a couple of the other book companies. Um, One is escaping my mind, but if you just Google it, it'll tell you where you can purchase it. I think it's a great story. When I wrote it, I just wrote it for an assignment. But now, as the years go by, I still think this is a great story for children and for adults to spend time with their kids. Because and that's also where you can get them to read. Even after they've read this, you can get other books. You can all curl up in the same bed reading the book. You can be on the floor reading another book. So I think reading is one of the most important activities that families can engage in for their kids. And some iPads are popular now, and iPads are okay. I'm not against an iPad, but I'm more for the actual book because you can turn the pages, and TV is like passive learning. But when you actually have the book, it's like, oh, this is great, and you can read it over and over, stick it in your bag at school, put it under your pillow, and things like that. So I think that parents can just take a few minutes weekly, or if it's not daily, at least weekly, to spend some time reading to your kids and sharing big words. And if you notice the names of the children, they're not regular names. These names are old-fashioned names because I found out that kids like big names. They may forget the and this and open, but they're not going to forget the word Samantha. They're not going to forget the word Bartholomew because they feel like, oh, I can read. I have these big words that I know. And so challenge your children a little bit. I think children can be challenged to just spend some time reading. And so I'm Sheila Holder. I'm the author of Samantha's Secret Hiding Place, and I invite the listeners to get a copy of this book and give it to your children or nieces or nephews or neighbors, donate it to the library, and things like that.
Okay, last and final question. So, how was working with Ink to Script or Bookwrights House?
Okay, they've been very supportive. They've been supportive, especially my agent. She would encourage me. She checks on me every so often to ask me how I'm doing. In fact, today she called me. Don't forget, you have an interview. She called last week. So I would say they're a very supportive company. I would recommend them to other readers and writers and authors.
Thank you so much. So that brings us to the end of today's enriching conversation. Dr. Holder, thank you so much for sharing your insights and inspiration behind your work. We wish you continued success with Samantha's Secret Hiding Place and in all your future endeavors. Your storytelling is sure to leave a lasting impact, and I can attest to that for the way you speak. It's so passionate you're so passionate about your writing. And to our
Mm.
viewers, thank you for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as we have. Until next time, keep reading, keep writing, and always create space for meaningful stories. See you again soon at Bookwrights House.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Uh,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
I've enjoyed this interview also. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon ahead, Dr. Holder.
Okay, you too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.